I'm here at the Seattle Center. I haven't been down here in several decades. I'm going to come down and see what's changed. When I went online, it looked like it was mostly had become an arts center. It used to be more of an amusement park back when I had last come here, back in I think the 80s. So anyway, let's go ahead and see what we got here. And this is a dedication to the World's Fair that brought the Seattle Center into existence. This is where, down here in Seattle, that my dad met Elvis Presley. This is the Space Needle. I would have went up there, but it's $35 just to go to the observation deck, which I've been on before, so it used to be like $5. This is the Armory. It's basically got the Pacific Science Center and food courts and things like that in there. There's some of the things that are in there, so I'm going to go inside and see what they've got. Yeah, I guess it's a change of plans. When I got up to the front door, it said it's closed to the public in there, so I guess I'll go on and see what else they have here. Looks like they're preparing for some sort of stage performance up there. Well, it looks like they have an administrative offices building and drama school, which is connected to the Eve Albert Theater, which is the Seattle Children's Theater. And this is the Pacific Science Center. Looks like that is closed as well. Another shot of the Space Needle. It was supposed to look futuristic back in 1962 when it was built for the World's Fair here in Seattle. Looks like they're using a combination of wind and solar energy to power some things around here. I thought at first that was a little statue up there, and then I saw it moving its head. Apparently he likes that spot. Apparently that's what 5G looks like up there. Nice little patio for people to sit on. They have a pretty nice little garden here. Looks like they're working on building or improving or doing something to the Climate Pledge Arena. You can see there's a lot of workers that are coming out of there. Well, this place definitely was not here the last time I was here. Not even sure what it is. Apparently this is the Museum of Pop Culture. Apparently the way they built it required special construction that wasn't used in normal construction of any sort of building because of its shape and size and everything. So it was an architectural first and used a lot of steel apparently. Well, I'm finding a lot of interesting sculpture. Not really sure what that is. That looks kind of like one of those erasers that you would use many years ago. I think this is an example of some of that unusual construction they were talking about. There's more interesting sculpture here. Or architecture, I should say. Here we go again. You can see it's right near the Space Needle. Looks like they built this Museum of Pop right around the monorail, which was a big deal. Instead of on two rails, it's a train that rides on one going out, the other one coming back in. And it looks like they have some more interesting architecture here as well. And here's the last corner of the building. You can call it a corner. Here's a little bit of modern architecture or sculpture. I'm getting the two confused because that building looked like a sculpture. What is it with birds like going to sit on top of everything? Some interesting looking sculpture. It's an interesting looking site. There's a little artistic looking garden. I think this is Spanish for there is peace in the world. And there's a little rabbit here in the middle of the city. That's kind of unusual. And I'm not sure what this is supposed to be, but it looks like some kind of modern art. It's pretty big. The sidewalk goes right underneath it. Elvis was here in Seattle in 1962 filming a movie called It Happened at the World's Fair. And my dad came down to see him. Apparently by the time he caught up with him, he was at some golf course and a bunch of women were all, you know, screaming his name or whatever outside the corridor where they could get in to actually get close to him. And apparently my dad was standing there and he was about the same age as Elvis, looked kind of similar to him. And so Elvis came over, stopped his golf cart and asked my dad to come in and, you know, ride around with him on the golf cart. So anyway, he did and found out my dad was also a musician and wrote some music. And Elvis wanted to meet with him the next day, but my dad had to show up at work. You know, he had 8 children at the time, so it was kind of unfortunate because he might have had an opportunity to show some of his music to Elvis. Apparently he did share some with Elvis's manager, but the manager wanted conditions that were unacceptable to my dad. So anyway, that's the story of what happened there. But it's funny because some of my brothers and sisters are also musically inclined, so apparently it just kind of passed on from generation to generation. I, however, have no real musical talent, so, you know, didn't hit everybody, I guess. I think these are supposed to be sunflowers or something. Well, they're actually solar panels called Sonic Bloom. From down here you can't see the solar panels. Apparently they're up in the middle of what would be the flower. Apparently it creates quite a bit of energy. Although the sun doesn't really shine a whole lot here in Seattle. By the way, this is a play on words for the local area. When we had a basketball team, they were called the Seattle Supersonics. And they used to have a saying, it was called the Sonic Boom. That was kind of like, you know, because of how much they scored and how physical they were and all that. But anyway, this is a play on that, Sonic Bloom. Apparently, if they were open in the Science Center, they have an expedition of dinosaurs of Antarctica. I hadn't been aware that they had discovered any down there, but I haven't really been keeping up on it, so who knows. I always seem to run into these birds wherever I go that expect me to have some food. The Children's Science Center is closed right now, but when it's open, apparently they have a lot of things for kids to do in here regarding science. To the Seattle area from 75 to 2000. I didn't really think it looked like could be solar in any way, so this is apparently some kind of art. It's the Pacific Northwest Ballet. I remember coming down these steps back around 1967, I think, when my class had a field trip down here. I think that's the last time I was here, so that was like 54 years ago. Really hasn't changed much. There's a few things that hasn't changed. This is our local public television station. It's been around forever. I actually came down here when I was like in kindergarten or first grade, I think. For whatever reason, occasionally they would show elementary school age kids on TV. So I was down here on TV to see a local TV show. And the neighbor had saw me on TV, and I think she took a picture of it. Kind of vague memories. That was a long time ago. But anyway, she made a big deal about it, that she saw me on TV, and that was one of the first times, no, it was the first time I'd ever been on television. And there's another rabbit. For some reason, all this wildlife seems to be attracted to me. Well, I hope you enjoyed our journey down here to Seattle Center. And the Space Needle, even though I didn't get to go up in it, I could have, but $35 just to go to the observation deck, it's not really worth it. You just go up there and stare around at Seattle for a couple minutes, and that's about all there is to it. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed the adventure, and please join me again in the future for more adventures of Big A.